Hello, everyone. Welcome to Anthropology 120. This is the summer 2021 session, the 6-week session. My name is Professor Mercer, and I will be teaching the course this summer. Okay, so hopefully you've had a chance to go look at the Getting Started video, which is, booted off the very first page of the homepage. If you haven't looked at that yet, you might want to go and look at it right now because really the purpose of this is to get more contextually detailed about the course. That one just gives you some sort of broad information, which I'll sort of reiterate some of that material right now. What I'd like you to do first is go ahead and pull up the syllabus. So you'll see syllabus tab in the upper, left-hand corner of Canvas. Why don't you just right-click on that, open it up in a new window. I'll pretend we're paused here for a second. You can pause this video and go do that. Okay, so hopefully you're back now with the course syllabus. Let's have a look at it. Okay, so it shows you the course length, which means the date we're running this today, June 14th. Hopefully you're on it today, all the way to August 5th, 6 weeks. Now, the next thing to look at is how to contact me. All right, there's email. That's not necessarily the best way, and this is why. I get a lot of email during the summertime, a lot of admin stuff, so I'm going to go through everything sequentially, and then I'll get to your stuff. The best way to get a hold of me is either by text or voice, and there is my number, 925-335-6298. Good thing to have that in your contacts. Or you can use the inbox. Just go to your inbox and use Canvas Messenger to contact me. Because when you send messages, it beeps on my cell phone, and I'll look at it right away because I know it's a student. Okay, so that's another great way to get a hold of me. You have questions about anything, I can help you with, especially getting ready for exams or confusions about assignments. Okay, next thing about the course itself. I have a little discussion here or a little explanation about what the course is. Essentially, we can boil that whole thing down to really what it is to be biologically human, in a biological sense, compared to, other organisms on our planet. What makes us unique? What doesn't make us unique? How do we fit in the larger ecological, biological landscape around us? What's our purpose? Additionally, how did we arrive here, from a scientific perspective? How do we know this? What sort of evidence that we have for this? And we're going to be looking at this through the lens of not only the fossil record, through some genetics. So I'll be teaching you some aspects of genetics in a very low level, but very easy to understand levels on a course in genetics. And we'll be looking, at things about, comparing our own behavior to our closest living relatives, the other primates on the planet, to give us some sort of indication about what humans are adapted to do. Okay? Next, we'll be very interdisciplinary. Along the way, you'll be learning a little bit about geology, about the Earth, how the Earth has changed to facilitate, life on it. Learning a little bit about the paleoclimatic, right? The old climate of the Earth, how it's changed over time to give rise to new organisms, including humans. We're talking a lot about the adaptation and radiation of many different species, including our own branch, the primate branch, when that occurred, where it occurred, and of course, again, what makes us absolutely special. And that's really what this introductory course to biological anthropology is about. Okay. As far as student learning outcomes, you can read those yourselves. All right. Now next, for those of you who need help, getting started in Canvas that are new to this stuff, there are some tutorial videos that I have down that actually link to the help sites at Napa Valley College. There's a Canvas Quick Start Guide, which I think is very useful. I actually look at it myself. I've been on doing this for years and years, but I look at that Quick Start Guide and I realize there's things I forgot about. So that's always a good place to start. It's a good refresher. Okay. So what will you need to complete this course? Our required texts. And I'll sort of give you an overview about them. So the story of the human body, and what I've done is I put the stuff for the lecture component sort of in the top and the stuff for the laboratory at the bottom. The lecture component is a small book called The Story of the Human Body, which you will need, small paperback text, or you can get that in ebook. And the other one is an online text called Explorations, an open invitation. And there I have a link to it. You can click right on it and it'll take you right to that website. Now, as far as the exploration text is concerned, here's the way we're going to be treating that is that's a reference text. It's nothing that, I may say, readings can be found in this book or read something. Really what I'm saying is that's a place to go to refresh yourself on information if things in the lectures I'm talking about or materials don't make sense, if you need a different explanation. So textbooks are really very specialized encyclopedias where you can get reinforcement. And I found out that students that are text that have too much text-heavy information don't do very well. And one courses become awful if you have to read textbooks all the time. So I'm trying to keep their reading to a minimum, but keeping something out there that that you can rely on as a place to shop for information if you need it in a hurry if you can't find it through me. That's really what that's about, and we'll talk more about that later. Okay. Now, for the laboratory component, there is a book called The Story of Earth by Robert Hazen. It's a small paperback book. You need to get that right off the bat. It doesn't matter, again, what format that it's in, e-text, paperback, but you'll need that very quickly to start. That's going to be utilizing in our lab. And the last is the laboratory workbook. So I want to show it to you because it's very important. And the other ones I don't need to show you. This one I do. Here's the reason. There are several different versions, well, 2 different versions of this. The first version is a little cheaper, so people always get the first version, but it doesn't have the lab. They're not the same labs. They've really significantly changed this book as they've gone to the second version. So it's produced by Katie Slurry, and I used to work with Katie Slurry. I taught with her when she was producing the first book, which is part of her PhD dissertation. And since then, the book has matured, of course, after it's gone through reiterations, and a lot has been changed. So you must get the second version. So I want you to be able to see that where it says it and what the cover has is very different. You'll see this, pygmy orangutan holding this little leaf hat to keep it out of the rain, on the cover. So you'll know you'll have the actual right one. You can, of course, get this in the solid, soft copy like this or the e-version. I'll tell you, many students have found the e-version easier to actually work with. But this is fine too, because if you want to do some of the labs, on hard copy, then take a photograph of those things, right? Bam, and just send them to me, upload those as your lab assignments. It works very well too. Just whatever you're the most comfortable with, okay? All right, so that's the learning material that you're going to need. So as far as how you're going to get the grade that you want and what we're going to be doing for assessment is important here too, right? So the courses are arranged this way. There's a total of 405 points, right? 5 points comes from meet and greet assignment, which you're going to do right off the bat. That's where you get to meet each other, talk about each other's, woes, loves, and hatreds of the online world, and explain something exciting about yourself. And you can comment on other people, and you can get 5 points for this. The rest of the 400 points are structured this way. 300 of those points will come from the lecture component of the class, and 100 points will come from the laboratory point of the class. And this is why. If these courses were separate, you would get 3 units for the lecture class and you would get 1 unit for the laboratory class. That's how the points are distributed. 300 for lecture, 100 for the lab to keep it very, very fair. Okay? So within that, here's how you achieve your grade. Lectures, there will be 4 quizzes at the end of each of the 4 modules of the class, which we're going to look at. They're 100 points. That's 400 points possible. What I do is I drop the lowest of your first 3 midterm scores. So if you bomb like midterm number 2 or whatever, you're not happy with it, out it goes. And we just keep the top 300 points for your lecture. You're also going to be getting, laboratory, material that you're going to be turning in, as well as a few quizzes worth 100 points. 100 plus those 300 plus the 5 points you get in the meet and greet make a total for 405 points. Thus, your holy grail, if you're looking for the A, is to achieve at least 365 points out of the 405, and you have it. And there's the rest of the grading scale if you're looking for a B or a C or however you fall in line. Now, here's the thing, is that if you had 364 or 363 points, would I deny you the A? Absolutely not. There's some subjectivity to grading processes, no matter what happens, no matter who you are. I have very, very defined rubrics, and I've done this for a very long period of time. But, a few points, one way or the other, determining whether you get an A or a B, I'm, of course, going to give that in your favor. Okay, but it's still good to shoot high so you can, be within those few points to get the grade that you want, okay? So, when you're calculating your grade, it's best to do it by points. In Canvas, here's the trick. The problem is that it'll put out assignments as percentages. What did you make on the percentage of the assignment? But suppose you failed to turn 2 or 3 assignments in. You see, Canvas doesn't see that. You think you're getting a 90%, but you're missing 2 assignments. That doesn't mean you're getting 90% of the class, right? It means I'm going to be looking at the total points that you've earned. against the total points in the class. So always bear that in mind to make sure you get all your assignments in, right? And then calculate your running total against what the total points are, and you'll know where you are at. If that seems confusing at any point in the class, send me a message and I'll tell you exactly how you're doing, okay? All right, so here's our schedule. We have 4 modules in the course, okay? I'm going to be blending lecture material with laboratory material. We'll be doing it, alternating sort of fashion. We'll do some lecture work, some lab work, lecture work, some lab work. That will appear in the learning modules. But what I've done to help you study is I've separated out the lecture modules from the laboratory modules. So when you're doing a lecture quiz, you don't want to see what's happening within the what's going on with the laboratory. You want to know just what to look for. So that's what I've done here in the schedule. So lecture, module 1, only lecture material that you'll see there. And you'll see the date in which we had the first quiz. That's your first lecture quiz. June 28th, and you'll see what type of quiz it is. It's multiple choice. Module 2 lecture, the material which we're going to be going through. You can skim down through that. You'll see the date is Wednesday, July 7th. That's module quiz number 2. And the type of quiz, it's a multiple choice. And if you skim down and you see module 3, you'll look at the quiz date, Wednesday, July 21st. That's module 3 quiz. Now, if you're having a problem taking quizzes on these days, I'm going to be in town, something happens, so let me know. We can work something out. I'll figure out something to do. There's all sorts of makeup quizzes I got out there that are equally, as challenging, pretty much the same level. Be happy to work, around the issues in which you're having, understand what student life is like. I was one, for a lot of my life too. Just tell me what's going on so I can help you best with those. All right. Now there's module number 4, and that module 4 is also, completed by a final quiz, but this one's different. See the ellipses there? It's not a multiple choice. It's an essay response. And it says it's due by midnight, Thursday, August 5th. That's the last day of class. I will be opening up that final quiz a week ahead of time. You have an entire week to work on just one question. That's all I'm going to ask you is one question. And essentially, the only book you need is that text, The Story of the Human Body. You can answer that entire question just by the readings that you've had out of it. That's why I really wanted to have that one simple textbook, that one go-to place for you to be able to answer that question that I ask of you. Most students do extremely well on it because you've got a week to work for it. And plus, I sort of, I want to lighten it up at the end of the course. I don't want to have one of these, high-stress multiple choice sort of quizzes for you. I want to have something sort of an open format in which you can be more creative, and something that we can work collaboratively on too, that can help you get the grade that you want. I mean, I can give you a lot of, help through this stuff. Remember that final quiz is very important. It's going to open up a week in advance. We'll talk more about it when it comes. All right. So separately, of course, I put the laboratory material, and that's just so you can study, particularly for the quizzes that are coming up. The first laboratory quiz comes right up into at just about the 3.5-week point. There's only 2 of these, so you're going to have 2 quizzes. Both these quizzes are multiple choice. One in the middle of the course, and one if you go down to the final module, the very last day, final laboratory quiz number 2. All right. So additionally, within those laboratory modules, we'll be showing you what we're going to be doing as far as laboratory, which are the laboratory assignments you should be working on. So right off the bat, we're not going to be doing any stuff out of the biological anthropology, workbook. We're going to be talking about the Earth Timeline Project, which we're going to be utilizing Robert Hazen's book for. This will be a longer project that you have. It should be a fun, very creative project. We'll be talking a little about how life has evolved on Earth, where humans fit into this. This should be something extremely creative for you to do. We'll be getting to that later. Don't let that intimidate you. Every student I've had so far said they have loved doing this. And we'll talk about that on the learning module as we sort of get into it. All right, so there's our sort of overall organization with our syllabus. So what I'd like you guys to do right now is jump right into the meet and greet, and get that off your plate and out of the way so we can go on to the regular stuff, learning material. What is anthropology? The first learning assignment of module 1.